Right now, what's coming up now is talking about the just the general insanity of our energy policy in this country. Let's talk to Andy Mayer. He's energy analyst at the Institute of Economic Affairs, the free market think tank. Very good morning to you, Andy.
Morning, Julia.
Thanks for joining us. So it's really, really simple. So the government came into power and Ed Miliband was appointed Energy Security and Net Zero Secretary, laughably, because those things are mutually exclusive. And he was saying, and Keir Starmer was saying, they were going to bring energy bills down by focusing on net zero targets, net zero electricity production by 2030, all these other targets, heat pumps, zero cars, all of that stuff. But it would bring our bills down because renewable energy is cheaper and more reliable than fossil fuels. So how is it that my bill is going to go up by 111 quid a year in April, and that's going to be up 18% what it was in July? How is that happening?
So Ed Miliband has said one thing which is true, which is the recent price rises. Well, I'll get there. The recent price rises are driven by regional gas prices, which have doubled in the course of a year. So the price of gas goes up. That means heating costs go up. It means industrial processes go up. And it means the cost of generating power from gas power, which backs up a lot of renewables, has also gone up.
Yeah.
So to get there, though, he's made three really big mistakes. So the first mistake is not investing enough and taking seriously our own domestic resources of gas. So we're sitting next to the North Sea. We know there is potentially years of gas supply under our feet, which could be fracked. And we've decided to ban fracking, and we're closing down the North Sea at a pace that even the government didn't expect.
And putting concrete into the existing fracking gas wells.
Well, maybe, but at these current energy prices, it's not clear that we can afford the concrete, so maybe they'll be saved. I mean, the difficulty there is that the renewable lobbyists will say that the UK drilling more gas will not change global or regional prices, and they've got a point. But there's two problems with that. Firstly, we can see what happened in the US. Our current industrial energy prices are 4 times those in the US, and the key difference is they fracked and we didn't. Secondly, we could, if we wished, either keep gas for ourselves or sell it abroad to ameliorate the impact of another energy supply shock. Yeah. So it's simply not true. We could use our own resources better, and by not investing in energy storage, gas storage in this case, we're creating a problem. So the second big error is the old renewables system, for which Ed is directly responsible. This is the renewables obligation, which very simply links the price we pay to renewable generators to the price of gas through the wholesale market. So they get not only what a gas generator would get, but a bonus through various certificates. Yeah. So that drives up the price of energy. It was so bad during the crisis that the last government introduced a windfall tax on renewable generators, the impact which is still uncertain, but is there to remove the excess profits 200%, 300%, 400% that they were making in that crisis from gas. And then the third and final mistake, which is the one that they don't agree about, is that even renewable industries are reliant on fossil fuels. Their supply chains are all driven ultimately by gas, oil, coal, and other things used to make stuff. So the steel that goes into wind farms, the plastics that go on the wires that you need to build in order to connect all this stuff together, the glass that goes onto solar panels. All these things are created through energy-intensive processes, which at the moment require the burning of fossil fuels. So what we saw after the energy crisis, and it's not just from the rise in prices, but also from the collapse of cheap credit, that the cost of delivering renewable power went up in this country. Yep. There are various renewable rounds. AR5 collapsed. AR6 was nearly 60 to 70% more expensive. AR7 is expected to be even more expensive than that.
This is renewable energy firms bidding for these government deals, and basically they just went, we're not bidding, we're not going to make any money.
Yeah, so they want guarantees that will protect them from a future administration coming in and saying, we think this was a waste of money and we're going to tear it all up. And the contracts for difference system will allow them to do that. They're private contracts between a company and another company. So the reason that, for example, Reform have said they're going to windfall tax the renewable companies with a different system to the current governments is that they think that's the only way they can claw the money back. But this isn't ideal either, because we do actually want a situation where other people can trust that when the government makes a promise, they'll keep it.
Yeah, indeed. But everything you've gone through, I mean, these are, none of this is controversial in the sense that it's not well, Andy Mayer from the Institute of Economic Affairs says this, but someone else says that. What you've said, I know for a fact, is all factual. This is factual stuff. How come the Energy Secretary doesn't know any of this? Because he has. I mean, this is just glorious this morning. Ed Miliband blamed a surge in gas prices for Britain's rising energy bills as he urged households and companies to back net zero to bring costs down. He said that the £111 a year increase in typical bills from April, and by the way, it's up 18% since last July, 18%, was a result of global spike in gas prices, and said bills were rising because we're so reliant on fossil fuels, in particular gas. But there's never going to be a point, if we're going to have more renewable energy, produce our electricity, which is only 20% of our energy needs, we're never going to not be reliant on gas. Or we're not building enough nuclear power stations. I believe we're building none right now to be the backup, because when the wind doesn't blow and the sun doesn't shine, we need to have backup. And that backup fuel ain't coming from us now, because we haven't got the storage and we're not producing enough. It's coming from Europe, who also need more gas and aren't getting it from Russia so easily, or we get it from America. So we're always going to be a victim of the international gas prices. However many solar panels, we could put solar panels over the entire country and we would still be impacted by this. And by the way, 95% of us use gas to heat our central heating in our homes. So I'm not quite sure how a solar panel is going to change that.
So, I mean, the reference to importing gas is quite important because the Norwegian government has just collapsed, and Norway are our main supplier of imported gas through the pipeline in the North Sea. Now, nothing is threatening that at the moment, but the Norwegians are having an internal debate about whether they should shut down the electricity interconnectors to Germany and to us in order to shield themselves from our irresponsible energy policies. Now, if that argument is won by those who want to do that, then the gas pipe could be next. If the gas pipe goes, we are deeply exposed. Our old energy security policy used to rely on the North Sea being the backup. And if we need Norway instead, it may not be there. It
is genuinely terrifying that we are in this mess, and the Tories are signed up to this still. Kemi Badenoch still signed up to this, and Labour fully throated on this, and we are grinding ourselves into blackouts and returning, before the Industrial Revolution at this point. It is genuinely terrifying to me. But there we are. Andy Mayer, thank you so much for a great explanation there. This is Talk. We are the home of common sense.